Thanks, Anna. So yeah, welcome everyone. My name is Jack Hallam. I'm from Ammo Marketing. I'd first like to start by acknowledging the land that I'm on today, of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. So copy, as Ms. Lee was saying before, is short for copywriting, which is the text that you use when you're selling something in the shortest way possible. That's what it means. A little bit of backstory on me. I went to Aquinas. Some of you probably know that school. And after high school, I ended up working in marketing as a trainee accountant. So I sort of flew between the city and uni for about 4 years, working really long weeks. And I was studying marketing as well at the same time. Realized that my passion was in marketing, so I got into that. Then I ended up at a co-working space called Bloom, and that's where Anna and I first met, and we've been friends ever since. So yeah, now I work at Ammo. Ammo is a growth marketing agency or set of growth marketing experts who help startups and small businesses and innovative companies grow. So we're based out of Perth CBD. We work with clients all over the world, some who have gone over to San Francisco and built wearable devices for your brain, others who are working on mining technology, or some who are changing the game in the power industry and even in the cafe industry and how we consume coffee. So lots of interesting concepts and interesting technology being applied to real world situations, but you have to communicate effectively with people if you want people to adopt this technology. So copy is probably one of the most important things that we do at Ammo. It touches everything in the customer journey from start to finish. So if you really nail your copy, you're most of the way there when it comes to creating good marketing. So that's enough about me and Ammo. I'm going to help you guys today with understanding how to write copy for your projects and for your startups that you've been working on in class. So today's class will be all about copy. I'll give you some tips and tricks and some useful formulas and also some tools that you can take away and start to work on and prototype out. All right, is everyone ready? Everyone pumped?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
I'll get into it. I'll chat to you after and see how I went, okay? So first off, copy or copywriting is not creative writing. It's not sales scripts. It's not a description of your product or speaking to a large audience. In fact, it's about speaking to your exact customer. So it's more of a one-on-one conversation. But really, to sum up, copy is selling with words. So as I was saying before, copy can be simply put as selling with words. So I want you to imagine or think about any story or any journey, and every journey has a hero. So you know, some of you may have seen Star Wars. So back in the day, that hero was Luke Skywalker. Now that hero is Rey. And so as Jedis, they need guidance, right? So think of the hero as your customer. But every hero has a villain. And so let's say that villain is, you know, Darth Vader or Sith or whatever the negative energy is out in the world. What we want to do is we want to take that negative energy and we want to take those bad things away from the customer. But they can't do it all on their own. They need a guide. So in Star Wars, the guide is Yoda. Yoda is I guess the source of knowledge, the person who helps Luke and pick him up, you know, when he falls down in terms of what his next step is. So in terms of the guide, that's you. So that's you as your company. That's you as a thought leader in your industry. That's your product. That's your service. That is the guide for your customer, for your Skywalker. So for you, be like Yoda, be that guide for your customer. So I guess an example of this is you can use the villain and say, hey, I'm going to show you how to do something without needing all of the technical knowledge and expertise. So I've made the enemy or the villain all the technical knowledge and expertise, and I've made the guide the product. So let's say we're using Canva, for example. I'm going to show you how to create a presentation without the need of doing 10 years of design school. And so straight away, I've highlighted, I guess, a hero, which is you, the person on the other side of this screen and also reading this text. I've described the villain, which is the design school, which is going to take ages to learn and has a massive learning curve. And I've also described the benefit of the product. You can create a beautiful presentation without all that time and investment. So your job as a copywriter is to bring them with you. You know, tell a bit of a story, not a creative writing story, not a big, massive novel, not a really long article, but a shorter story that gets straight to the point and gets them to take an action. And more importantly, it's not just about the action, it's about the sequence. So you need to understand, what does your journey look like from start to finish? You know, when people are first discovering the concept, they may not be as aware of the problem, and I'll get into this in more detail in a sec. So the first question that you should always ask is why. And with your product or service, you really need to understand why it exists. There's no use making something unless people actually really want it. And there's some ways with your copy that you can test if you're on the right track as well, with people actually wanting what you've got. So ask this question first and really think, you know, does my hero need this? You know, is this going to be a lightsaber that helps them in their journey? Or is it just going to be a belt that holds their pants up? I mean, that's pretty important too. We don't want our pants falling down, but you know, like the lightsaber is obviously a bit more useful in the situation. So in terms of ammo, why we created ammo and what the sort of the vision and I guess our mission was, those two words are used a lot interchangeably. But for ammo, we believe founders make a difference in the world. As curious humans, we enjoy working on interesting and cool technology. So we built a business to support them without the need for hiring a CMO, which is a marketing officer, and a marketing team from day one. So I don't have to go out, I don't have to find, you know, 2 or 10 people to run my marketing. I can just go to Ammo and start hitting the ground running with my growth. So that's kind of the benefit, you know, of not having to go out and hire a big team. So you kind of need to know that what that benefit is for your customer as well. And that comes from a lot of conversations. So really what you want to do is understand where they are in their journey. Are they right at the beginning of the journey in terms of just learning about this for the first time, or do they already know that your category of product exists and that you need to sort of write something that helps it stand out compared to the rest of your competition? So understanding your competition is good too, because then you can kind of say, hey, this is a better way to travel than that way. So a really cool framework for this is Eugene Schwartz's stages of awareness. So you write this one down. You can do a bit more research on this if you like, but it's pretty straightforward. To start off, it's broken down into 5 different stages. So the first stage is that I'm unaware my problem exists. I don't really realize it's happening, or I'm just putting up with it every day. And I don't even know that there's a solution out there. Problem aware, I know the problem exists. You know, maybe I'm you know, my feet are sore, or I'm starting to get thirsty or something like that. Solution aware, you know, there's stuff out there but you don't know which one. Product aware, you could probably list a few different alternatives or a few people who are market leaders, but you might not know about, all of them. And then when you're most aware of the problem and you're most aware of what the solutions are out there, you'll usually have a favorite. So you'll have a favorite drink, you'll have a favorite, clothing brand or pair of shoes. And this is the way you talk to these customers is way different to the way, you talk to someone who isn't even aware that they need it. So mapping that out is really helpful. So here's an example of how it works. So let's say our product is Coca-Cola, or more specifically in this example, Coke No Sugar. So unaware, getting dehydrated, sitting at my desk right now, or I'm doing my homework or whatever, I don't even realize. Problem aware, oh, I'm thirsty. My mouth's getting dry. Actually, this is a time where I'll have a drink as well, just as a reminder for me. So if you have a, water or whatever in front of you, take a sip. Solution aware. So this is when, you were thinking, okay, maybe here's an idea. Maybe I could have a soft drink, or I could have some orange juice or something like that. I don't know. But let's say our product category is soft drinks. So, I'd love a soft drink, maybe a Coke. But I also know that I could have a Sprite, I could have a Fanta, whatever. But I'm aware that of that category. Most aware is I've got a favorite. I know I'm going to have the Coke No Sugar because I don't want the calories. I just want to replenish my thirst. So that's sort of how you can apply the framework to your products or service. But you don't have to be overly obvious. Think about what your customer already knows. They're not a baby. This lady knows that she's old. We don't need to tell her again. But there might be something she doesn't know that could be, beneficial or improve her life. So by talking to her, we can figure out what other things she's interested in. Maybe it's homewares, or maybe it's wine or something like that. I don't know. So my next point on this is talk to customers. So I think a few of you, or I heard from the last lesson that we might have interviews or surveys coming up. These are a really valuable, option for you when you're exploring what to write. Sometimes you can even just take the review and then rephrase it and use that as your marketing copy. And so, reviews, one-on-one conversations are a really great source for finding good copy and working out what language your customers use when they're describing different products. If you're, in a new category, or you're creating a whole new innovation that no one's ever heard of before, go and look at reviews for existing products or services, or the way that people used to solve the problem. If it's a brand new type of car, you could go look at, what people enjoyed most about, I guess, traditional cars. Was it the design? Was it the seat comfort? Was it the, control system? Was it certain screens or connectivity to devices, the charging? All of that stuff, that we had in the old cars, or in the newer sort of more luxury cars, has gone into your Tesla now. So your Tesla has taken on all the learnings from the luxury car market, and them, spending years trying to work out what customers really enjoy and what they'll pay for. And he's just copied that and just made an electric car as well. So he's got the luxury car, but it's electric. So that's how I guess you can sort of, level up or stack, on top of innovation and all the hard work that's been done by the competition, or by, people who are already in your product category that you're creating a new innovation for. So write everything down. I mean, the short of it is, when you're having these conversations, you really want to capture as much as possible. You want to get as much as you can down, and then within that, you can find the nuggets, little nuggets of gold, the little bits where, oh, geez, I didn't realize that was actually the thing that they wanted all along. That was the main benefit, or the main reason why they buy the product. It's not because, it's a really easy to use drill, it's because the battery lasts for, I don't know, a week or something instead of just a couple of hours. So, from those interviews, you'll pick up different customer insights that they can then use in your marketing copy. And I guess question that as well. Don't just take what certain customers are saying, as gospel. Not everyone actually knows what they want. They might think they do, but in fact, they'll want something else. So I think it's important to, really sort of test it, get it in front of people. If someone, says or describes, their problem in this way, or describes them using your product in a certain way here, you can take that copy or information, or take that review, send it to 5 other people, or put it in front of, 10 or 20 or 100 or 1,000 even other customers, and then get feedback on that. And, if it's showing results, then keep going down the rabbit hole. It was in fact, this that helped me understand it faster. Oh, okay, I'll rewrite it again, except expand on that thing that made it easy to understand for the next test. And so you're gonna, as you progress, or as you grow your project or your business or whatever you're working on, you're gonna get better at understanding, what makes your customers tick and what they like and what sort of copy that they enjoy to read and engage with. So I've got an assumption here, and I think some of you, I heard, were working on a product about preventing smelly masks, which is, sign me up for that. But I guess, with any of this stuff, you've got an assumption. So our assumption is that people don't enjoy a smelly mask. Okay, how can I test that? So here's an example of how I could test it. You know how when you wear a mask for too long and it starts to smell bad? Well, that's bacteria, my friend, and you are breathing it in. Triplex, be fresh. So, this is a bit more conversational, but what I'm doing is I'm turning my assumption into some copy and then seeing if actually people engage with it. So that could be an example of how you could do it for that product. And it's not necessarily exactly clear what the product is. So maybe to improve this, we might have, with an easy to use spray or something like that, or whatever the product is, or, with an interchangeable, layer filter or something like that. It doesn't necessarily matter what the product is straight away, but it's about engaging the reader up front and then making it clear that they know what it is within the first few seconds. So the key thing to remember here as well is you don't have to tell them everything at once. You can space it out depending on where they are in terms of the stages of awareness. So if you want to sort of show them a new or interesting way to improve this, okay, great. Oh, what is that? I might click something and then go to a website or go to another video, or read a bit more about the product in the comments, where I've got a longer description, which has, more background on the benefits and how to apply it. Really, you want to break it up. And it's the same thing with your copy. You want to space it out so they're not just getting a barrage of information all at once. So the key thing to focus on here is just the value. What value are they getting at each stage of awareness, and what value are they getting as they take an action. But I guess the new trend we've been seeing over the last few years is not to have a call to action, which can be pretty boring, like learn more, buy now, get started, book demo, but to actually have something more engaging and something that describes the benefit or what the customer is going to get if they do click that button, if they do put in their email, if they do create an account. What are they getting? So this is where you start to describe the value proposition in the copy, but even down to the point where you're putting it in the button or you're putting it in the action that they take. So here are some examples. Join us for a coffee, explore our portfolio, request a 15-minute call, start your free trial, or try free for 30 days. So, these seem a bit more enticing and a bit more I guess, engaging or interesting, then just buy, shop, explore. You know, there's a bit more to it, and at least I feel like I want to do it if it's the kind of thing that I'm interested in buying. So here are some useful frameworks. So I'll send these slides across, and you'll be able to sort of start putting into the formulas, you know, what you've got. And I think, like with any subject or with anything that you're sort of learning for the first time, the formulas can really help. That's why we've got formulas in mathematics and you know, other things, because you can start to input your variables and then out comes a result, right? When you're still learning it. So, you know, here's a couple. I'll just quickly go through them. So benefit without problem, build beautiful websites without technical expertise. This was kind of the villain, the one I was talking about before, introducing that. The only solution with value prop, so with your value proposition included, so the only off-road electric scooter. Now, I would argue that maybe electric scooter isn't a huge value prop anymore. Like, people are buying them all the time. They're flying around everywhere, harassing cyclists and other people, almost running over your dog. It's a bit annoying. But, you know, there's probably something else that you can put there in terms of actual value proposition, like you know, off-road scooter that charges in an hour or something like that. And then the final one, solution. So you benefit, or so you can, blah. So fantasy football without budgets, so you can draft any player you want. So take away the limit. We've gotten rid of the limit. Just do what you want with it. So those are 3 frameworks you can start using straight away. And then here are some useful tools. So Google these ones. The FK index is about readability. So you can usually find this in your Word editor. Sometimes you need to turn the setting on, but if you just Google how to use FK index, there'll be a bunch of ways that you can do it in like a Google Docs or a Word or something like that. Hemingway is an app that helps you write, and they also provide feedback on what you've written and then show you ways to improve the readability of it, or the sort of professionalism of it, if you like. Grammarly is an awesome tool. You know, if you're going to communicate something, make sure it's spelled correctly. And then tools for ideas. Headline is one that I found recently. I really like it. Check it out, headline.com. And then the others, Gen Copy AI, Jasper AI, Copy AI. So all of these ones here, these final tools, use like artificial intelligence to use, I guess, some of these frameworks, but there's a whole, you know, suite of these frameworks that are out there. And like auto generate like different options for you based on what your product is and what the benefits are. So these are really cool if you're looking for ideas. They don't always give you like the best possible outcome and written version of what you want to say, but they can get you, they can do a lot of the heavy lifting for you and help you turn something that's boring into something that it's at least a bit interesting. So some final tips, say more with less. So pretty straightforward. You don't need to write a big essay. You're not here all day. Decrease friction. So take away things that, you know, are annoying. Don't use really complex words that no one really knows what they mean. I think that's just, you know, that's just part of being human too. Like, don't just throw in stuff if you can't back it up. Increase desire. So, you know, like the call to value thing I was talking about earlier, make it a bit more enticing. There are words and pictures. So, you know, our lady on the right here and the photo, she's looking very comfortable and happy. And, you know, so you can have that nice picture, and then you can layer, I don't know, I'm feeling relaxed about my, I don't know, way of life, or I've lost, you know, 50 kilos and I feel amazing. You know, there's stuff like that you can use. Take risks. So don't be afraid to throw in some humor, you know, add a bit of spice, add a little bit of pepper. So, you know, you're not eating or reading plain stuff all the time. You know, feel free to throw in something that everyone's thinking, you know, when they see a certain product. And yeah, have fun with it. So final call to action or plug, a shameless plug, is the Weird Growth podcast. We talk to founders, people who have started companies in Perth and now all over Australia about what helped them grow their company. There's all sorts of weird stories out there. The founders of Airbnb, for instance, they were selling cereal. What was one of the earlier things that they did to earn money to help them, with their business. So, founders are often doing strange and unusual things. So we call the podcast Weird Growth. It's all about the weird growth and the weird journey that founders go on. So head to weirdgrowth.com for that. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Podcasts, on everything. It's even on YouTube as well. But yeah, that is it, everyone. That's my talk. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, any feedback, any questions, you can drop them in the comments when this goes up on YouTube, or you can send me an email at jack@ammo.marketing, and I'll get back to you with, any tips or any help that you need on your copy. Thanks.